So we're recording to explain the Microsoft email that was sent out pretty recently to announce the change on May the 5th. If you think Star Wars Day, May the 4th be with you, it's the day after that. Everyone using Bing needs to make this change, otherwise their Bing ads will stop working, and also using Microsoft Clarity via Bing, that will also stop working. So what do you need to do? So very first thing is make sure you're not using custom HTML mode, which ironically is the way that Bing integration with GTM works. It actually adds it in custom HTML, which is actually not going to work for Bing consent mode. So you need to change it to a Bing template. So here I've got a live example. The Bing template looks like this. It says Microsoft Advertising Universal Event Tag. So in the template library here, if I search for Microsoft, it's this one here, Microsoft Advertising. It's a native tag within the GTM library. And within that tag, you're going to want to have your account ID set here. And so that's the first thing. You need to just basically make sure you move it from custom HTML over to a template. To get the ID, if you do see any code that looks like this is the old code. If you're seeing a bat.js, it means you're using custom HTML, not the Bing template. So you need to grab the ID there and move that to a template as the very first thing. Within this template, you need to make sure you fire it at the right point. In most cases, it would be on a consent updated event. So in this case, this one's using CookieBot, so it's going to be a cookie consent updated, but if you're using OneTrust, it'd be a OneTrust consent updated, etc. So not on an all pages rule. You need to load it after consent is ready for this to work. And also you need to remove any blocking rules. So let's say you've got that targeting blocking is present, you need to remove it. It's safe to do that because this is a built-in consent. So you can see on the consent settings there that it adds storage, which you can't remove. So it's native within there. You don't need any required consent. So if you have add storage in here, you can remove that as well. So there's no additional consent and no blocking rules. Second thing you need to do is make sure you tick the tick box here. When you first create a Bing template, this will be unticked. So if I just do that from scratch, and you can see it's not ticked if I pull it from library. So you need to go in and tick that box. That will read the default consents that you're outputting for your tag manager, such as add_storage set to deny, and the same with analytics_storage, etc. It needs those fields, particularly the add storage one, in order to convert that over to a Microsoft consent format, which is slightly different. So that second tick box, in essence, outputs a window.uat push for a consent default with those same kind of settings for granted and denied that you're already probably hopefully setting within your cookie management platform. So for your add storage here, hopefully you've got your granted and denied. So that tick box basically just says Bing's going to read those values, but instead of it putting under a window.datalet, it needs it under a window.uetq push event. So this is basically exactly the same as that tick box. It's just now part of that Bing native tag. You can also do this using third-party extensions. However, my recommendation is not to do that because it's easier to just do it within the native Bing tag because, well, it's native. So just basically make sure that second tick box is ticked for it to read the default consent. The tag potentially may not work properly if you don't tick that box because it needs the default to run. So that's the first thing. The second thing is you need to also move any conversion pixels to load after this default tag. So here we've got a Bing conversion tag here in this list here. It will say Bing UET event. So it's not a page view tag. It's actually at the point where I change it to a standard event, you'll see that tick box for default consent disappears. So actually, the reason it disappears is you need to load the default first, then you need to send an event. So in this case here, I'm going to show you what I mean by that. So here we've got the page view loading, then we've got a done with Bing that's firing. So here we've got a after the page view has run and it's read the default consent, another tag fires which is done with Bing, which is this one here, which just has an event saying done with Bing. And then on that event, I'm then running a Bing conversion pixel. So here we've got a done with Bing event as a trigger group, and then this one's got a form submit event that we're firing. So that's going to only trigger after the Bing back library has fired and it's read the default consent. So it's now safe to fire a Bing conversion pixel. In this case, I'm firing a registration event, and this one also does not require any additional consent and does not require any blocking rules. So again, if you were using custom HTML in this case, this would also need to be moved over to a Bing native tag, but in this case, it's kind of a Bing event tag. And you can see that by selecting that in this drop-down list. So that's the first set of changes for the standard Bing remarketing pixel.